Hey, welcome back to another episode of The Trust Tree. I am your trustee, the Najvino. Before we even get started, we're on a road to 10,000. Say this every week on YouTube. Subscribe, please. On Rumble, follow. Tell everybody, your mom, your aunt, your cousin, everybody. Anybody that's trying to get just some valuable information, pass the word, please. Okay. We're doing this for you. I'm really hoping you picking some of this up. So why not spread the word? Um, Appreciate you for tuning in. Um, I know it looks a little bit different today, right? I figure today would be a good time to just kind of talk about some things that have been on my mind. Something that is very personal to me. So when I'm on the couch by myself, we will call this series "Strengthening Your Roots," because as you know, a tree is not necessarily going to strive unless the roots are healthy. You need healthy roots to produce a fruitful tree. So, in terms of human beings, we have traumas and different things that happen in our formative years that definitely affect the way we live and adult. So, on this journey to peace, love, and understanding, we need to make sure, focus on your focus, of course, but let's work on those foundational principles because you can't really focus on the finish line if you're not doing the work to get there. So, strengthening your roots. Okay. This particular focus, I'm just flat out calling it's not you, it's me. Sometimes we just need to look in the mirror and just recognize, okay, you know what? This is constantly not going right for me. Maybe I just need to stop and take things apart and figure it out. And there's definitely nothing wrong with that because the first part is knowing. So again, it's not you, it's me. Sometimes things are off, and it's the way, and it's the whys that matter, right? So let's say I'm not feeling good, or whatever. Why? So like if before you get up and go to the emergency room, you pretty much try to determine, okay, do I really need to go? Like, is my head hurting? Can I not breathe? Am I bleeding? Does something hurt? Whatever. The whys are what gets you to, okay, what should I do? Same thing in life when something's off. So some of those could be you got the wrong people in your life. You're making bad choices. And then if that's one of the issues, why are we making these bad choices? Our environment, past traumas. And then a lot of times in really getting to the whys, you have to stop, listen, and just be still. Like listen to yourself, listen to the universe to try to figure out what's going on. So if we kind of take a step back and talk about having the wrong people in our life. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you're hanging with the wrong friends. That could be that you're in a relationship with the wrong person, someone who's not seeing you, someone who's not growing with you, someone who's unwilling to accept the new version of you, if that makes any sense. And that's not necessarily really any faults of that other person. It's just maybe you've grown apart. Shit happens all the time. We have to accept that though. I mean, it's either you are gelling with me on this level, we're growing together, or you're not. I mean, I think a big part of that is that people sometimes don't want to separate themselves from situations that no longer serve them. And of course, that is the new cliche phrase that everybody's using. But in some cases, that shit is true and it fits. If a situation no longer serves you and it's detrimental to your mental health and also your physical health, and it's just downright making you unhappy, then you probably should consider moving on from whatever that situation is. And I should have said this before I even started talking, but I am in no way perpetrating being a therapist. I'm not a a certified counselor. I'm just talking about my life experiences, things that I've encountered, my observations, and stuff that worked for me on my journey to being the best version of me that I can be. And no judgment either. So please don't take this as I'm trying to J down on you if you're in a stagnant state. Just trying to help. So take it as such. Bad choices. Bad choices can be anything from drinking, drugging, just like binge eating. I mean, maybe you're not doing anything productive in life because you can't get off the couch and stop watching TV. Just bad choices equate to this is not doing anything for my current lifestyle. This isn't bringing me anything positive, and it's kind of snatching me down a negative path. So that's what I mean in terms of bad choices. So, whatever that means for you. And then why am I making these bad choices? So that could tie back to people in your life, or like your reaction to different stresses and trauma responses as well. Like sometimes people do drugs because they're unable to cope with whatever's going on. Maybe you don't have the tools, whatever the case may be. People eat their feelings all the time. Like somebody might joke and say, I'm going to eat my feelings. Sometimes people have like bad breakups or whatever. They eat a whole tub of ice cream. That's a real response to stress. If that's what makes you feel better and that's what floats your boat. We all have vices. But, those are some of the examples of bad choices and why I'm making it bad choices. The environment that you're in. It could be a situation where you're living with someone who's not necessarily a nice person. Their vibe is off, or, maybe the situation is just bad in general. Maybe it's overcrowded. Maybe you're the problem. I don't know, but that's something that you might want to explore. If most of the other aspects of your life are okay, but you notice every time I come over here, my energy goes to shit. I'm just in a really bad place. Maybe it's the environment. And then, trauma. Like everybody's gone through things in their life, some better than others. People handle things differently. Sometimes we respond differently to trauma. Sometimes we are triggered by things that happen and that causes us to behave badly or inappropriately. But yeah, stop, listen, and be still. Like listen to yourself. Like sit and get to know yourself again, because a lot of times that will help you to kind of get your leg up on the journey. Like you got to start somewhere. Like you got to figure out, okay, what's going on with me? Like I don't feel like myself anymore. And you won't even know that unless you stop and notice. Like if you're too occupied with other shit, you're not going to pick that up about yourself. Like just be still sometime. Sit and be still. And never expect that the transformation is going to be immediate. Like it's an infinite process because we learn and we grow every day. And if you say, okay, I'm just not feeling great. I'm not feeling like myself. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. You've identified that. Okay, now it's time to take apart the pieces. Okay, what does that mean? But don't expect when you wake up the next morning, you're going to be, yep, I got it all figured out. Let's go. It doesn't work like that. Maybe it has for a person. I ain't seen that motherfucker yet, but I'm just saying, like, it's going to take some time. Like, this is definitely one of those situations where we talk about extending grace to yourself. It is real. Like, you are going to have to be so patient with yourself, because there's going to be days where not only are you uncovering and discovering things about you that you may have forgotten about or not wanted to think about or whatever, but you're not going to like what you see. You're not going to like what you've become, and you're not going to want to put forth the effort to turn that around. Like that could be a very ugly situation. And that's something that you're going to have to settle with, live with, and be comfortable with. That's part of the journey as well. But it's not something that's about to just click and we out here. We out here in these streets and we healed. That's not a real thing. That's an everyday thing. You could have 14 days of progress and success in this particular situation, and then on day 15, you can't even get out of the bed. If that's the case, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? It's your journey. It looks like what it looks like, but do not expect overnight results. It's all about giving yourself time, giving yourself space, and giving yourself the patience to do what needs to be done. Because this whole thing is we're doing work. We're doing work on ourselves. And that looks different for every single one of us. So my journey is my journey. It definitely isn't going to look exactly like yours. But these, fundamental tools, I'm sure will help you along your journey. Unlearn what's not working and get to know your true self. So that's part of discovery. And maybe that's journaling for you. Maybe you're a person that responds well to music. So maybe you stopped listening to music because you were occupied with the stresses and the negative things in your life. So you just kind of stop. So maybe you go back to listening to music. Maybe you read books. Whatever helps you clear your mind is definitely something that could just help you start the process. So like unlearning is literally what it sounds like. Like, maybe you get in arguments with people because you're combative and you're defensive because you got emotional armor up because nobody listens to you. You never feel seen. You're always judged. So you're very confrontational with folks, and people kind of fall back from you because I don't got time. I don't need that in my life. So you have to unlearn that response. Maybe you need to go back and think about, okay, how did I get here? Like, what got me here? We got to take that shit apart and figure out, like, okay, because if you don't want to be around people and interact with people and you don't care about having friends and confidant and all that, fine, be combative. That's your thing. But unlearning is a huge thing that we all need to explore. And then get to know your true self. Some of the things to explore in that regard would be, what are my core values? What makes me happy? That's a horrible, hard question. When you ask yourself that question, you don't have an answer. Like, for me, that was what kind of got me stuck. Like, I sat in that for a couple of days. Like, what makes me happy? And I didn't know. And then I kind of realized, okay, I have officially lost myself. And that doesn't necessarily mean that, you were on a crack binge for 2 weeks. It was just that I got caught up in my other roles. Like, I got caught up in parenting and working, and I wasn't necessarily looking for what I needed because I was serving other people. I was trying to deliver, for my employer, and I was trying to be there for my children. And I put my all into those things, and I kind of like fell to the wayside because, I'm cool when everybody else is cool, but it worked until it didn't. And when it didn't, that's when I had to start to pay attention to these things. How do you respond to stress? That's a big thing. We talked about that a little bit earlier because sometimes we have negative behaviors that result in our stress response. So if you have a lot of bills, but you don't have the money to pay for them, maybe instead of you trying to figure out how to better budget or maybe get a side hustle to kind of supplement your income, maybe you go and spend money because you feel like, I'm overwhelmed. I can't pay it anyway. So I might as well enjoy this. I work hard for this money. You know what I mean? Like, we have all types of stress responses that aren't necessarily positive things. What motivates you? Some people have something where it's like, I'm going to show up and show out all the time. But that's the one thing that you're going to get a rise out of me for. Everything else, not so much. So you got to answer that question for yourself. What are your goals? Like, what do you want? Like, if you feel like I'm stuck, I have nothing, I don't know what's going on, I don't know what I love anymore, I don't know what I like anymore, then answer those questions. Take time and figure that out.
Latrice Turner just says, that's a question I'm still trying to figure out if I'm happy.
Real talk. Like, it's a simple question, but it's not. It's very, very complicated because there are a lot of people out here that haven't the slightest idea if they are or not. And you take as much time as you need to answer that question because on your journey to healing, no one else can set your pace. You're the only one that's accountable for your actions. So do the work and figure it out, but take the time that you need to do so.
I have a question.
Yes.
What was it that put you on this journey doing this podcast called The Trust Tree?
I was feeling like something was wrong. Like I didn't really know what was wrong, but I just kind of didn't feel like myself. Like, and then people would I would listen to things that people would say about me. Oh, you're strong, and all these positive things that people were saying. But I did not feel that way. I just didn't feel that way at all. A lot of things that I loved, I just wasn't doing anymore. I love to read, write, and listen to music. I wasn't doing any of that anymore. And the music was a big one because that was like everything to me. I just wasn't listening to music anymore. And then I just kind of was watching a lot of different podcasts and shows and stuff. And there was an episode of Red Table Talk where Jada Pinkett talked about how she discovered that she had lost herself. And she was talking about how somebody asked her a question about something that she liked and she couldn't figure it out. And I felt like super seen in that moment. Like somebody asked me what my favorite snack was. I have no idea, but I could tell you everybody in my family loves what they want, what they need, what time they need it, everything. But me, I got nothing for you. So I started to do a lot of research about, healing and self-discovery and things of that nature. And through that process, I watched a lot of podcasts and I saw a lot of things that interest me and that really seemed like they were helping people. Like one might think that you watching a show isn't going to do anything for your healing, but that's not true. I discovered ASMR, like all types of different things, that unorthodox methods to just help you feel better and like give yourself the juice you need to get up and work on being a better person. So, and I've always, I got the Trust Tree from the Will Ferrell movie, Old School. He was in therapy with his wife and he said some super inappropriate shit. And he was like, "What? I thought we were in the trust tree." And that's always stuck with me, that, but I mean, that's a real thing. It's like it's a safe space.
Miss Griffin says having a strong support system is important. Do you think that doing this show, The Trust Tree, is a support system?
It can be a piece of a support system because you have a lot of people out there that aren't comfortable expressing their, forgive me for saying issues, but their issues and imperfections, So this would be objective because, I have no idea if you're watching or not, real, unless I check the analytics. I don't know where you are, what you're doing, and literally what's going on with you in your life, and you're listening to my personal testimony right now. And then when we have people on the show, you're seeing and hearing things that they've gone through and how they've gone from some of the lowest points in their lives to expressing that here with me and sharing it to the world. I would think that is a testament to how it's not going to be bad forever.
Did you think that this was going to turn into what it is turning into? Because I watched the shows. And I've even spoken to you, and I've said that this is like a dump. Like, I don't mean dump in a dirty way. It's like people dumping out things that they don't normally say and they don't normally talk about and they don't normally think about, and it becomes like a release.
Yeah, I did, because I believe that everybody has something, and because the world is so different now, we all get lost in these different rabbit holes going down social media and things. And, we hold a lot in because we want to be strong for everybody. We want to do what we can for everybody else. And a lot of people even feel weak in a way if they need something for themselves. So I felt like this show would serve as that for a lot of people. Not only support, but just being able to see I'm not the only person out here suffering, and I don't even mean that for somebody to feel selfish, but I'm saying, seriously, a lot of people think that their situation is the most horrible thing that's ever happened and they're never going to get through it. They're never going to feel better. They're never going to get any relief. But you just got to do the work. It might be hard, but sitting there soaking in whatever it is isn't going to do anything. And
I don't mean to interrupt you. I just put the link in the comments. So if anyone feels like they want to dump or just let something loose, is that okay?
Yeah.
So if you see the link in the comments, click on the link. You don't have to show your face if you don't want to. If you want to, that's fine. But if you feel like you want to get something off your chest or something you've been thinking about, something that's bothering you, whatever it may be, I mean, you could probably elaborate more on that than I could.
Yeah, I mean, it is a trust tree. Step out on the branches. That's what we're here for. Like if we can help anybody with any situation, I mean, that's what we do it for, honestly. But yeah, to answer your question, I knew that this would work because we're all human. You know, we're just flesh and problems. I mean that's what, you know, humans be humaning, life be lifing. You know what I'm saying? We can have a good run, but you know, sometimes things just don't always stay pristine. But I think it's all about how we handle stuff. Like that's really what matters. Talk about goals. Setting goals is always good because it gives you something to strive for. You can see what you're saying you want. You know, you say it out loud, and then strengths versus weaknesses, that comes with honesty, like being honest with yourself. Like, you know, you might like to sing along with songs that you like to listen to. You might love music, but that don't necessarily mean you're gonna be the next R&B sensation, you know. But maybe you're good at writing, you know, or maybe you produce, maybe you arrange, maybe you could be an A&R. There's all types of different things that we can do. There's not always a no. Maybe you just need to figure out how to wiggle around that a little bit. Maybe it's just a not yet, if that makes sense. Are you a procrastinator? And if you are, does something trigger this? Like for me, what I've learned over the years is that I am at my best when I'm under fire. Like that's in every aspect of my life. And over the years, I just kind of I'll chill. I'll wait to the last minute on purpose just to be like, oh, I knew I could do it. And I'm working on that because that's not necessarily a great thing. There's a lot of situations that your performance could be that much greater if you just prepare yourself and actually take the time to do it right instead of just, you know, springing into action and working like a maniac. Do you require a specific environment to thrive? So sometimes people come alive in certain situations. Sometimes people like to be around a lot of people and they kind of bounce off the vibe and bounce off the energy. Sometimes people like to be alone to figure things out. You know, like all of this stuff you will learn when you sit down and sit with yourself and have these conversations with yourself to figure out, you know, what it is that you need to do. And honestly, if you need to have a conversation with yourself, literally, like actually talk out loud to yourself, if that's what you need to do, who's there to judge you? Then do that. If you talk to yourself through journaling, that's cool too. I've seen a situation where someone used their voice notes, kind of talk through things and play it back and just, you know, hear what they heard and record yourself also. Like whatever you need to do, that's fine. Maybe we shouldn't spin the block. And that's in terms of people breaking boundaries and we let them back in. I know there's a lot of situations where you may not necessarily have much wiggle room, but we'll talk about that. Romantic relationships. Like if you're with someone and you broke up, chances are it's for a reason. Now I know there are circumstances where ego and feelings and things kind of go left and maybe you broke up at the spur of the moment because you were emotional. But sometimes we break up because people ain't shit and we don't need to be with them. So consider that. Friendships, same deal. Like throughout my life, I've had a lot of bullshit friendships. Some of them were trauma bonds. Others were just people who they weren't good people, you know? And then maybe they now they serve as good people for other people. Maybe it was just me. I don't know. But I've learned that you don't necessarily have to do stunts and shows for people to like you or for you to feel accepted or for you to be like, oh, this is my people. Like, be you. You shouldn't be anybody else unless you're a paid fucking actor. Do you and be you. That's it. If the people around you aren't willing to accept you for who you are, and I mean that in every sense of what I just said, then that's a decision that needs to be made. Because no, I don't think so. In business relationships, like sometimes we are in situations where we really, 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 really want something. But you can't be married to every deal. You know, like sometimes things are just not meant for us, you know? And then in a way, sometimes when something doesn't go our way, it's because something else is coming and it's going to be a way better situation. You know, like I would say in terms of business relationships and money matters, like the more time, as much time as you can spend on figuring that situation out is probably for the best. Like, make very invested decisions wherever possible. Family. Like, sometimes with family, the people that we were born to, they just, I don't know. We all know that we come from what we come from. You know, some of us have very traumatic backgrounds. Other people have great, perfect, you know, the Cleaver type experiences. But I think that unlearning really applies to this situation, because sometimes we have situations where the older people in our lives, they piss on our dreams because they can't understand us living in that privilege, because our situations are a little bit better than theirs were. You know, every generation has a bit more progress. Maybe not much, but you know, sometimes a little bit goes a long way. And there's a lot of situations where, you know, sometimes you just have to put a little bit of distance between you and family if that's what you need to be successful and to make yourself happy and to be the best version of a whole person that you can be. Because family can be very negative and off-putting at times, you know? And then there's also situations where you kind of stumble upon relationships where you're choosing family. Like, this is family because we've been friends for umpteen years and they always show up for me. They never did me wrong. You know, we see each other. I am my best self when I'm with this person. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that they're here for me, and them showing up for me is the outfit that they always wear.
That's really dope. You said that. I don't want to say her last name because I don't want to chop it up. But Shantae says, understanding that we outgrow people and it's okay and it's supposed to happen. Staying loyal to people just because the amount of time we have known them can sometimes stifle your growth.
Absolutely. Like, that's super facts right there. Like, outgrowing people is, and like, if I could think back, like I really had an issue with this, like, because I was just trying to like hang in there with a whole bunch of people, you know what I'm saying, for a whole bunch of dumbass reasons. But it's like, at some point you have to realize that, you know, I could sit here all day long and say it was her, it was him, it was them. It's me. It's my journey. It's my improvement. It's my life. It's my health. It's me. I'm the one that's deciding to sit here and be with this person, or I'm deciding to sit here to leave. Either way, it's me. I'm accountable for whatever the situation is. Absolutely, though. I 1000% agree with that. Choosing your battles. I say this because we lose a lot of energy in life arguing and fighting and fussing and dwelling on shit that we ain't got no control over, no way. Like, if you're cool with somebody and it's always an argument. And I'm not talking about arguing over top 5 rappers or all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about, like, seriously, like, it's always something. There's always something. They're super negative. They always want to fight. But then there's also situations where somebody upsets you and you have a right to be upset, but you know that if you express yourself in a certain type of way, it's going to be a whole thing and you're going to lose energy. I'm not arguing with a stupid person, just like I'm not arguing with a drunk person. I don't have that much time or energy to spare in that regard. So choose your battles. Choose when to give a person that type of energy. Choose when to give any of your energy, honestly, but choose your battles in every sense. Respect, respect for yourself, respect for other people, and you always got to be accountable for your actions. So I look at it like this: if you have respect for yourself, meaning you have a sense of self, you you know your worth, and you know you know who you gonna fuck with and who you're not gonna fuck with. That kind of helps you to interact and be around other people. You treat other people how to treat you. So if I can conduct myself a certain kind of way, I'm always around a certain type, like certain caliber of people, and the people that I keep around me don't play about me. Other people will see that and they'll know, okay, all right, she a different kind of person. She don't Shenanigans is not something that she wants to foster in her environment. Okay, all right, we know how to handle that. And then when things happen and they might be it might be less than acceptable to you, or you might not necessarily be happy about what's going on. There's a way to handle situations. There is a way to handle everything. If somebody calls you out your name, are you gonna cuss them out, fight, stab, whatever? Because there's consequences. You can go to jail, which can cause you to get fired. If you have children, you could potentially lose your children. All type of shit. Like for every action, there's a reaction. One thing for sure, though, you're going to always be accountable for the things that you do. So that's always something that should be considered. I especially love to talk about this with kids, because I know for a fact that there are certain situations where you make one bad mistake and it affects the entire rest of your life. You could get in a car with the wrong person. That person got guns and drugs in the car, and who's to say you're going to have level-headed, reasonable police that are going to talk through the situation and be like, oh, okay, well, we'll let all the rest of y'all go and we'll take the driver. Sometimes everybody goes down. And that is a result of you getting in the car with the wrong person. So accountability is extremely important and serious to me. What you can control. This comes into play with state of mind and well-being, I would say, because a lot of people suffer from anxiety because they focus on things that are really out of their control. You can control your own attitude. You can control your own actions. You can control your own behavior, accountability, your opinion, your beliefs, how you speak to yourself and to others. Now, how you speak to yourself might sound like some crazy shit, but it's real. Your brain, as well as the universe, can't necessarily tell the difference between you whispering to yourself and you talk to somebody else in the room. So if you're constantly allowing these negative thoughts to fester inside of you, calling yourself stupid, or you don't have faith in yourself, or I'm not going to be able to do this, I can't do this, I don't know, I'm going to try, I might, well, maybe, then that type of energy, it just kind of festers inside of you and it grows. And eventually you're training your thoughts to never come out, yes, absolutely, sure, definitely, right now, let's go. It's always, well, and that's the type of vibe that's going on inside of you. And I know for a fact that shit is real, because every time you open up your mouth and there isn't confidence, that's what's coming out of you and that's what's coming back. So if you had an opportunity to do something, but you had to get up really, really, really early in the morning, you was like, man, I'm tired, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. Chances are you're gonna oversleep. Because did you put forth effort to set your alarm clock? Did you put forth effort to go to bed early to give yourself a better chance of waking up? What did you do to put yourself in that position to be successful and get up early and do whatever it was? But if you started off, oh yeah, I'm definitely about to get this. All right, so I'll make sure I do what I got to do, get my stuff ready. You know what I'm saying? So when I get up in the morning, even if I am a little bit late, I'm out the door. Like, mindset changes. Your desires. Like, you control the things you desire. Real talk. Social media. Like, this bothers me a lot because there's a lot of people that talk about shit on social media. It's not real. You can choose who you follow and who you don't. If somebody's always posting negative, stupid, ignorant stuff, unfollow them, unfriend them, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Hell, delete the app if it's affecting you that way. Why do you need this? Why do you need this? Like, if you delete this app off your phone, are you gonna die? Is it gonna make you sick? Like, is it gonna have a large effect on you? Yes, it will. Probably some fucking positivity. So you can control that. You got to do what you need to do. Your circle, like, seriously, listen to me. I swear to God, okay? I'm not playing with you. The people that you have around you in a real way affect everything. Now, we talk about accountability and how we are accountable for our own actions, but at the same time, the use of our energy is affected by the people that we are around. If you're around somebody that's a fucking knucklehead, they constantly having altercations and arguments, we live in Chicago. We already got our head on a swivel. But if you got somebody that's a catalyst for bullshit, that's even worse. You already know a good percentage of your night is dedicated to babysitting this person if you go somewhere. If you are around a whole bunch of people that aren't doing anything with their lives, you're kind of gonna start to feel like that's normal, you know? All damn day long, we sitting around playing video games and doing nothing else. I wake up tomorrow, I want to play video games and chill because that's what we do. That's okay. Like, if you surround yourself, and I don't know what your thing is, you know, if you sing, surround yourself with some bomb ass singers that are better than you, that'll help you elevate. You'll strive to meet them at that level. If you like to write songs, then you should probably be around people that write, people that read. But like, find out what your thing is and align yourself to people that's their thing also, and people that are better at it than you. Like, we strive to compete naturally. You'll elevate. You will naturally elevate. Your circle is so important. You need positive people that have drive, that speak life into you. Like, just like you would want your parents or your significant other to speak life into you, people around you should be doing the same thing. You get promoted at work, you definitely want your homies to congratulate you and support you and things of that nature. Keep your circle tight. Believe what you believe. It's nobody else's business. Like, you know, whatever it is that you believe in, whether it's religion or politics or whatever, that's on you. Like, stand on your own. Like, be your own person. Like, just because somebody else has different political views doesn't mean you can't be friends. I mean, what the fuck? I think that makes for great relationships, respecting differences. Be open to change. Like, we can't sit around being scared of stuff all the time. Like, that's how you stay stagnant. You know, like, push yourself. Like, push your boundaries. Like, you'll never know what you're capable of doing until you do. And your calling is not for everybody. They go hand in hand, because sometimes we have ideas, we have plans to execute our desires, and we want to tell everybody because we're happy about us having this thing that we're aspiring to do. Sometimes people just don't understand, and it's not your business that they don't understand. Every time you want to do something and somebody doesn't agree with it, you gonna stop? You do that, tell me how far you go. And if you were happy where you were, then you wouldn't even be interested in this conversation. So definitely, in a lot of cases, don't front your moves. Just foster your own desires and your calling yourself. Like, you need to really sit in that and figure out, what does that mean? What you want to do, is that really going to be something? I mean, you never know. Intentions and the use of energy. Like, this is like super, 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 super important. If you're a praying person, like, be intentional with your prayers. Same thing for like meditating or like studying, or people who use affirmations and things of that nature. Like, I believe that you get what you put out. Like, if you're always thinking negative, you're gonna find yourself surrounded by negative people, negative outcomes. Just maybe you're not gonna move through life as fast as you. It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna always be unsuccessful and everything's gonna suck for you, but you probably are gonna see a lot more stagnant energy. Behavior. Like, there's intention in everything that we do that goes with accountability. So the way we move out here, like, that's important. Like, don't go somewhere looking for a fight. Like, that's not what you want, because a lot of times you get what you look for. Giving and receiving. Like, this is a big one to me. Like, if you give somebody something, give it to them because you wanted to give it to them. That's it. Straight up. You had something, they needed it, you gave it to them, who cares? Bye. Like, them receiving the gift and oh, thank you so much, and you don't like how, oh, they didn't even say thank you or whatever. Like, okay, so what? Like, who knows? And then same thing for a person receiving the gift. Somebody gives you something. Like, I would say the only time you should really reject it is if you know that person is just about in the same boat as you and they ain't have shit to give and they definitely can't afford to give you whatever it is and you just couldn't take it. You couldn't live with yourself if you took it. That's the only way I see not accepting the gift. And also giving and receiving grace, like positive intention and extend and receive grace, and I put you on the right path. Be kind to yourself. Like, you need to like take time and give yourself whatever it is that you need. You might be having a bad day. You might need to give yourself some space. Maybe you might need to just take a rest. You know, maybe you just need to sit in silence and just figure things out. You be kind to yourself because everybody goes through stuff. We go through shit every day. It's a lot, just adulting in life. Like, we owe it to ourselves to be kind. We give everybody else patience and all this other stuff all the time, but we don't do it for ourselves. We don't. And that's something that we all need to stop doing, because that's not cool. And know that you are enough. You everything you need, you have inside of you. You just got to tap into it and figure out how to get to it. But you are enough. And there's literally always something to be grateful for. Like, a lot of times if I'm in a bad mood or like stuff isn't going so great for me, if you will, I'll kind of sit and think and come up with something to be thankful for, because that will immediately change your train of thought. Like, and some of this stuff is pretty simple, but it works. It works. And a lot of times, everything that we're working through, like if it's you're trying to stop drinking, you're trying to stop doing drugs, you're trying to like change your eating habits, you're trying to exercise, whatever, changing your mindset is the first thing to do to try to see some positive change in yourself. Like, literally sitting with yourself and saying, you know what I'm doing right now is not working. It's just not working. Whether it's your health is declining or whatever, like maybe somebody's pissed off because, you know, you always high or whatever. Like, that mindset is changing your mindset, change your way of thinking. It's gonna get you trying to figure out for yourself, what can I do to improve my situation and make this better for myself. We're all stronger than we think. That kind of goes, you know, in the same vein as the other stuff. Like, I remember a time where I wanted to do a podcast. You know, I wanted to do something like this. I didn't know where to start or what to do. And then I thought to myself too, man, that's probably going to be overwhelming as hell trying to figure out how to navigate through, you know, having a 9-to-5 and doing everything I do in my daily life. And then, you know, even doing the one show, like being able to dedicate the time and figure out how to move things around to be able to commit to something like that. But I mean, look at us now. We got about 8 shows. So never say never. And, you know, never doubt yourself. This one is really, really big to me. When you lose, don't lose the lesson. Like, people fuck up every day, like every single day. But like, getting down on yourself about it and stopping and just like really being mean to yourself and like just not letting you like move past that, I think that's really a detriment. Like, I'm very hard on myself, but in a way where it's more motivational. Like, I'm not necessarily I am a little bit disappointed in me when I fall down on things that I know that if it's a situation where you know better, but like I give myself the space to, well, figure out where the fuck that came from. Like, why would you do that when you already knew what the outcome would be? Like, what was that all about? And like, kind of, study through it so you can work toward not revisiting that again. But every time we fall down, there's a lesson in that, and you can use it as your own personal cautionary tale. Okay, I know that if I walk down that dark ass alley, there's probably going to be a Dateline episode on the other side. So I'm not going to do that, But if you choose to walk down that alley and now you're a start of a Dateline episode, I mean, hey, hopefully you're the one telling the story, and now I'm not doing that shit no more. So there you go with that. A couple of things that that I think about are like positive, like saying very positive things to myself, like reading positive things, watching positive things, like all of that changes the energy around you. And then like whatever your thing is, like there's communities out there. Like there's like mom groups, single mom groups, single dad groups, musician groups, like there's all type of shit, like your old high school alumni group. Like maybe if you're lonely, you branch out and go find people that like stuff that you like, get you some homies, get you, you know what I'm saying? And before you know it, you start to do positive shit, positive changes. You know what I'm saying? Just do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. That's not how things work. Like we got to switch it up. Do what we need to do. I found this online and it was posted by somebody named Gifts for Her. So it says, everything in your life now will begin to propel forward. You'll notice the shift from stagnation to flow, from lack to abundance, from confusion to clarity, from pain to peace. This is the turning point. Like, I love this because not only is everything about it positive, but it's true. Like, if you're in a bad place and then all of a sudden you stop and you just will not accept any of that, you won't allow any of that. Like when you have negative thoughts pass your mind, you just kind of let them go. Eventually they will go. Replace them with positive things, and you won't accept negative things in your life, because why would you do that when now you've tasted the positivity? Like, who's going back? And when you have those days where you might dip back, just know that I fell down today, but that don't necessarily mean I'm gonna stay here tomorrow, because I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure that I stay on that same path. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, taking one day at a time and making sure that every day you wake up, you try very hard to be the best version of yourself that you can be. Because after all, the only person that you disappoint is yourself, because it's you. You're the one that's accountable for you. And then, all the things that we talked about today, I mentioned this earlier. I don't want you to feel judged. I don't want you to feel like, like I'm trying to say that you suck because you're not doing anything. Just be patient with yourself. If you want to do better, you got to do different. You got to figure out what that means for you. Like, but you have to give yourself the space and time to know what that means and know what that is and know what you need to do. Like, it's all about space and time. Like, the beginning part of the journey might just be sitting and being still until you learn how to figure out how to come up out of that. Like, you got to listen to yourself. Because if it's you that's struggling with something and you don't listen to you, how can you decipher through the noise? Like, if I'm going through something, I definitely can't move forward if everybody is in my ear about what I need to do. I need to hear me, because it's me that's going through it. Like, I need to figure out, how did I get here? What did I do? What can I change? What can I eliminate, remove, to make sure that I'm not back here again? And even if I do come back to this familiar place, how am I going to handle this next time?
For those who, this is a question for you, Nashvino. For
Yes.
those that just tuned in, what is the trust tree about, and what is the goal of the trust tree?
The trust tree is a safe space. And I mean that in a very broad sense, whatever that means for you. So if you were to come here and sit on the couch and have a conversation with me. I want to talk to you and get to know you, but I also want to show you you, because maybe that's going to help you figure out whatever it is that you're searching for, you know? And I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
What is the goal? The goal of the trust tree?
The goal of the trust tree is simply to help. Like, spread the safe space. Like, if we can get people on the path to researching healing, like, that's all I want. Because me and the people that are trusting me with their emotional equity, we're healing in real life. We're healing in real time. Like, you're watching us experience what we're experiencing. You're watching us grow and learn and talk about how we fell down, and also how we got back up, and how we plan to not stay in that space, and what we hope it's going to look like when we get over there, so to speak. Like, this is all about safe space and giving ourselves the room to heal,
Right.
and what it looks like in between that.
So this is your 8th episode. What have you learned from episode 1 to episode 8, where you're sitting now?
I'm constantly getting people wishing that I had gone deeper, and I sit and think about that. And what I pulled from that particular scenario is that people they go through the experience and they were a little bit apprehensive, because it's very scary to kind of have somebody snatch something out of you that's ugly, and then you look at it and have to deal with that. I think people are thinking it's gonna be the worst shit in the world. But then when they realize that it's very, therapeutic, they want more. And the fact that it didn't hurt and it felt so great, and they feel a lot lighter, they wish that we had more time to go deeper, So, that's beautiful. That's
you learned.
So basically, that's what I'm getting to. I learned that everybody experiences things differently, for sure, and that all the things that I thought that this would be, it really is. Like, I even was just a little bit doubtful, because I thought, you hear things about this and whatever, but no, like it's really, really, really like becoming something. And I learned that even though people might be scared to share, like, they're grateful. They're really grateful. The gratitude that I get is really satisfying. Like, I thought that people might have a little bit of relief, but I didn't expect the gratitude. Like, that is, it's very moving, and also, we say everybody goes through things, but some of the stuff that we have explored and unpacked on this show is mind-boggling. And the fact that people are still functioning and not catatonic is something, like I think everybody that has sat on this couch thus far should pat themselves on the back for even being able to express some of the things that they have.
When we know that the transfer of energy is a real thing, when you're sitting there and someone is literally, it's gut wrenching, and they're literally ripping their own soul out of their body, telling these stories about these traumatic things, and how do you manage all of that energy? Because some of it's sad, some of it's heartbreaking, it's depressing, it could be a lot of things, and how do you manage that energy when you're sitting there and listening to it?
I try to be objective, it typically doesn't work, but I don't necessarily focus on like not crying or not being emotional with them. You know what I mean? Like, if it happens, it happens. I more or less want to be whatever that person needs me to be to help them to continue to have that release. I've had a couple of tears shed. But that one tear is strong as hell. You know, it's like holding on for dear life. Like I try not to like, you know, break all the way down because, you know, sometimes it's a lot to come back from an ugly cry. Like it's everything that comes with it, you know, like that's too much. I got a goal, I got a job to do, and that's what I'm really trying to do. But I don't want to like break people down, but like I guess that's what people need. Like, and then sometimes when I leave the situation, it's still on me, you know. But like that kind of happens to me naturally though. Anyway, like I absorb energies. Maybe that's why I like this. But I just kind of learned over the years to give myself time and space to kind of just like work through it. Like I'll brain dump, you know, to kind of get it off me. Sometimes, sometimes I'll talk through it, like whatever I need in the moment. And I have a lot of like affirmations and stuff that I'll read through as well if I really, you know, like feel like that. But it's definitely not a cakewalk.
No, it's really not. It is. It's I don't know the word is I'm looking for at the moment. But it's freeing, you know. I've seen people on the show, and how their I don't want to say attitude, but how they went into it like, oh yeah, this is going to be whatever, and then it's almost like a self discovery, you know. You end up talking about things that you probably would never freaking tell anybody, in which in turn you kind of walk away from it and you go, holy shit, not that you said anything, but the discovery that you went through that. Because we in life a lot, we stuff a lot of these things down and we don't talk about them, we ignore them, we do a lot of things other than dealing with them. It'd be trauma, even good times or fun times. And I remember, at not on the show in particular, I don't think, but I know my son had asked me one day, what do I like to do for fun? And no one had ever asked me that in my life that I could even remember. And it stumped me. And not only did it stump me, it fucked me up. Because for days after that, if not a week after that, I kept asking myself, what is it that I like? Because nobody had ever asked me that. Do you find that like when you're doing this and you're talking to people, that you're asking those questions that no one's ever asked them, or that they've never even asked themselves?
One of the goals for me is to make everybody that sits on this couch feel seen. I just want to give people trusting me with that emotional equity. I want to give them that sense of relief. That's almost kind of like my payment for, you know, them even doing it in the first place. Like I feel like anybody who's got the courage to tell their story deserves something in return. You know, like you wouldn't give you nowadays you wouldn't really give a bank your money unless you knew the interest rate was going to be worth it. You know, you want that payoff. So I want the same thing for people who sit on this couch. I want them to feel what they thought they would feel if they did that. So that way that won't discourage them from doing that in the future, because that could be the difference between, you know, somebody harming themselves, you know. Right. Like people deal with heavy things all the time. And sometimes you don't have anybody to talk to about it, or maybe you don't want to talk to your family members because you feel like you're going to be judged. You know, I don't know why one would trust me, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I appreciate them doing it. And I never want to betray that confidence.
Right. You've heard the analogy, one man's trash is another man's kingdom, right?
Absolutely.
And or the you couldn't walk a mile in my shoes type of thing. Are you finding that people have similar journeys in life? some more horrific than others. Some, I mean, we don't know because, like, are you? I guess what I'm saying is like, are you finding it that like before it was like, yeah, one man's trash, another man's kingdom, and now looking at it, you're like, well, shit, I probably couldn't walk five steps in their shoes, and they might be able to glide through what had traumatized me, or vice versa, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that one of the reasons where I came up with I didn't come up with it, but my main focus is that everybody deserves peace, love, and understanding. Like, I think we all have that in common, whether you grew up rich or you were homeless half your life, like we all want that. Like, and the traumas that we've dealt with in life, whether you were raped, molested, kidnapped, just every relationship you've been in, they fumbled your feelings. Either way, like, we all want to be happy. We all want to be at peace. Like, I would imagine that most people, don't want to cause harm to other people, or, whatever negative energy is in your life. Like, we all want to rid ourselves of that. We all want our share of the healing. And I think that, we started different. Everybody, you started this journey of healing for different reasons, but that goalpost looks the same. We all want that peace, love, and understanding. But I think a lot of times people are too busy staring at the bottom of the net, and they're not watching the play being made, and like, that's where shit falls down. We just, I want to be rich, or I want to be famous. And there's so much shit in between where you are now and where that is. And that may not even be, really what you want. Maybe when you get that, you can't even handle it. But if you're not doing the work to heal on the way, you may not even be ready to receive that blessing,
That's very true. What do you see? I mean, I love this show, by the way. And I feel grateful even just watching it from the sidelines. It's an amazing show. You do an amazing job. Where do you see this going, and what do you see it doing, let's say 5 years from now?
I hope it does everything it morphs into doing. Like, I feel like it's a living, breathing thing. Like, it will become what it needs to become, to support the people and to maintain the safe space. I would love, and I'm not even going to say that. This thing is going to hit the road and do like live shows where we speak in front of audiences, and like, people will share their testimonies and things of that nature,
How important do you think it is for people to actually share, like, outside of a church, but like share their testimony? Because testimony is their story. How important do you think that is? By the way, if I'm asking too many questions, tell me to shut up.
Oh, no. I mean, sharing your testimony is as important to me as it is to you. Like, you may not necessarily want to confide your whole situation, maybe there's just a little piece that you may be, a little confused about, whatever sharing means to the person who needs the healing, then that's what they need to express. But I think one piece of the value in sharing the testimony is other people get to hear and see that situation and know that, okay, this person went through A, B, and C, and look at them now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they said that they felt like they had nowhere else to go. They had nothing else to do. They were like, they were at their wits' end. They didn't know what to do. They were just done. And I felt like that too. But I see now, they're the complete opposite. They're actually working towards healing and being a happier person. Like, I also want people to understand that everybody's end game, everybody's happiness doesn't necessarily look the same. We all want love, peace, and understanding, but that looks different for every one person.
Right, but life doesn't just be lifing for one person in particular. So your life, it's not specific to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. So my life in is it looks gonna look different than your life in.
But it's going to be similar.
Oh yeah.
That's the point I guess I was like alluding to. Like, we all have different paths and different roads that we take, and different things happen to us along these paths and along these journeys. But these journeys are very similar in ways, and similar because I mean we're human, and life's constantly, whether we like it or not. And the man next to me on the train may have went through not the exact same thing as me, but very fucking close.
Yeah.
And it's very fucking similar. But his end game looks different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
His middle game looks different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And his starting point looks different than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But we all should be striving for the right type of end game, I suppose.
Yeah. The similarity should be the effort, the work.
Right.
Do the work. Do it. Whatever that means for you.
And do you want the trust tree to be an inspiration to people?
Hell yeah. Absolutely.
Elaborate.
We need to figure out what we need. And everybody's different. Some people need to be cursed out to motivate them to do stuff. Some people need hugs. Some people need to be left alone. Some people need a room of people to pray over them. Like, we all need different things. I want to inspire people to keep going. I end every show saying keep it light, but keep it. And that means don't stop. Like, that comes from a situation where a guy comes from a family, the entire family were drug dealers back as far as he could remember. And he didn't want to do it. And he was put in a lot of different terrible situations where he had to stand up, and not because he wanted to, but because he didn't have the space to fall down, because his family was just, they never left him alone to do it. And he did some time that he didn't want to do, but he just kind of was put in that position. So he did his bid, and when he came home, his uncle basically promoted him, and he did not want it at all. But he didn't have the words or the tools to be like, hey, this isn't for me. Like, I want to go to college. I want to do something positive. I want to do something completely different. I don't want to do this. But he took it, and his uncle felt that reluctance in him, and he told him, keep it light, but keep it. Like, do what you need to do, but you gonna do this. When you go home at night, do what you need to do. But while you're here, you gotta stand on business, because we don't have space for you not to. And that applies to life. Like, if we're struggling with things and we stop, that could mean very, very catastrophic things for a lot of different people. They could do something bad to themselves, other people, whatever. Like, hopefully that's not what you want, but if that is, that's one thing. But, we gotta do the work. We gotta do what we need to do to make ourselves the best version of us that we can be, because time is precious, and shit, we on borrowed time like every day. You just never know. So what the fuck we gonna do with the time that we got? Are we gonna make the people around us feel better? Are we gonna start a chain of positivity? Are we gonna, love on each other and be what we need in each other?
Have you seen any changes in people that have been on the show, like direct effect of them being on the show?
Yeah. I don't, want to tell people's like specific business, but yeah. I should say we've had situations where someone made statements directed towards someone that they maybe necessarily didn't treat them right. They didn't handle situations, very maturely, and it resulted in the person actually seeing that and realizing that, they fell down on their responsibility also, and they had, they apologized to each other and worked toward repairing the relationship. I've had a person just realize how far they've come, and actually take some time to accept the gratitude from themselves, congratulate themselves for how far they've become, and learn that they don't handle people giving them like positivity very well, compliments and gifts and things of that nature, you know? Even somebody just getting a better understanding of themselves just by saying some of the things out loud is positive as far as I'm concerned.
Are you finding it remarkable that just someone sitting down and having a discussion about themselves, nothing else, just them, their life, their journey, like how has that struck you when doing that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I take it very serious because I appreciate, you know, people trusting that to me, you know, and even sitting down and talking to me about it. But it's the gratitude. That's what I find remarkable. Like that's the reaction I get a lot from people. It's the gratitude. I expected relief. I did, because usually when we talk about our problems, even if we don't want advice, we just want to vent to someone. We get relief from that. I expected that, but it's the actual genuine gratitude that I love, like, and the human experience in itself.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, about the human experience? What have you learned just in these 8 episodes?
That truly, I'm not the only person that realized within themselves that something was off in the way that I was feeling, you know, and that it's convenient to say, oh, so and so did me wrong and this, that, and the third. But when you actually sit and examine you and take accountability for your part in that, like I see that in every person thus far. Like, you know, I was down bad, and true enough, they cheated on me or whatever, however you want to say it. But when I sat down and thought about it, I'm the one that keeps picking this type of person to be with. Or I'm the one that accepted that type of behavior and that treatment, you know? I'm the one that knew I didn't like that or I was unhappy, and I just kept going. And not only did I just keep going, but, you know, like, I accepted, you know, even more from the person, you know? I never set my boundary, and I also never did anything when that unspoken boundary was violated, and the person clearly knew that they violated it, you know?
Can you tell somebody how to get on the Trust Tree?
Yes. You can DM me on Facebook, Instagram. I am the Nashvino on all platforms. I believe on Instagram it's 1E. On Facebook it's definitely 2. Yeah, just reach out. I would definitely.
You think that reaching out is the hardest part?
Yes. That's just like admitting you have a problem. Like, because what would you say when
it's just a conversation, though, right? All it is just a conversation. What makes it difficult for a person, or why would a person think that would be difficult just to sit down and have a conversation about themselves?
What would
Most people want to talk about themselves, don't they?
Yeah, but what would the conversation consist of? Typically on the show, we're not just, hey, so what's up with you? What you do today? You like blue jeans?
Oh, how does that work then?
Blueberries?
How does that work?
You don't necessarily have to tell me your whole life story, through that initial interaction. But you can say, I just had a real bad breakup, and I don't think I ever want to be in a relationship again. I want to kind of explore those feelings or whatever, whatever. Just give me a little gist of what's going on in your life. Or maybe you might just literally want to talk to somebody. You just want to talk to somebody. You just want to be on the show because you want to see what it feels like. I really don't give a damn, honestly. Let's do it.
Okay. Talk to them then. Tell them how to get it, how to get on, what it consists, not necessarily what it consists of. I think you touched on all of that. But what the process is, I don't know. Like, I'm not, for the people that are watching.
Yeah, like I said, you can reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram, whichever one you prefer. Even if you're on Rumble, you can do that as well. You can DM through Rumble, right? Okay. Yeah, and just say you're interested in being on the show, and then we'll go from there. We'll figure out if we can make that happen. Because this is
necessary for them to be in Chicago.
No.
You can do it remote.
We can do it remote, absolutely. And this is a safe space. Everybody that we interview, that we talk to, we will respect your boundaries. So if there's certain things that you don't want to talk about, if there's something that you don't want to be asked, I'm definitely not going to violate that boundary. After all, we are discussing how to respect and establish boundaries. So how dare I not do that myself? But yeah, if you are interested in being on the Trust Tree, please reach out. We will do everything we can to make that happen. Virtual is not a deal breaker. Yeah, we can definitely accommodate that. Before we close out, we're on the road to 10,000. Stop playing, okay? Subscribe on YouTube and follow on Rumble. But I was going through some affirmations that I had saved, and to people who are kind of like in the middle of your journey. You're just trying to figure out, why am I so sad? Why am I so negative all the time? Like, people always say, relationship, never go to bed mad at your significant other, all that kind of thing. Don't go to bed mad at yourself either. Like, don't go to bed in a negative space. Like, don't go to bed with that energy on you. Like, this is something that I think is a start. And if you're a praying person and you prefer to pray, definitely, if that's your thing, then do that. But if you're a person that's not necessarily, that's not what you own, and maybe this might be a little bit more your speed. So you're not getting no judgment from me either way. I release today and call back my energy. I bless and release any pain, worry, or anxiety about my life. I welcome a restful sleep and easily receive messages from the divine in my dreams. I now welcome peace as I rest my body and recharge my energy and soul. I am always safe and protected. That last line, I'm always safe and protected, doesn't necessarily mean you're literally in danger. But if you are, but like, you need to be safe and protected from negative energy, because that shit is real. Like, if you keep it on you, it gets in you, and then it comes out, and you're giving it to other people. Like, surround yourself with as much positivity as you can in whatever way you can. So if you have Pinterest, hell, if you have Google, you can Google positive affirmations, bedtime affirmations, trying to get rid of negative energy before I go to sleep, all that kind of stuff. I think that would definitely help. You have any more questions before we close out? Man behind the curtain? No? Okay. Anybody else in the room? Okay. All right. Well, I hope that everybody tuned in, got something from this. Like I said, on your journey, you pave your way to peace, and that looks different for everybody. Be kind to yourself. Be patient. Extend yourself grace, because it's not something that you're going to just wake up the next day and be like, yep, here we go.
Yeah. Also, too, I do have one thing to say.
Yes.
Tell them the time and the day that you're on.
Bow. Right. So Unwrap owns 8:30 Chicago time. Okay. Every day we have a show, 8:30. We own that time slot. We own that bandwidth. Okay. Don't play with us. Again, subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble. Okay. Every Tuesday, 8:30 Chicago time. I appreciate the love and the support, and engage. Seriously, engage, comment, ask questions, whatever you want. And if you want to be on the Trust Tree, reach out. The Nashvino on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, it's 1E. THENASHVINO. On Facebook, THEENASHVINO. We'll see you next week. I appreciate you tuning in. Be kind to yourself. Extend grace. Consume grace. Be accountable for your actions, and be vigilant out here in these streets. Not to get off the subject, but that was really, really fucked up what happened to those people on the CTA. I don't know if you guys heard about that. 5:30 in the morning on the Blue Line, somebody shot 4 people. 3 of them died on the train. 1 of them died at the hospital, but it was at the ass crack of dawn. They said that all the people were asleep. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they were like homeless people sleeping on the train or if there were people that were going wherever and it was just so early that they were asleep. But like, this is the type of stuff that's happening in the world. Like, love on your people, love on yourself, be kind to yourself, because everybody is struggling with something. You know, we all just trying to make it. So be kind to yourself. In the words of Avon Barksdale, keep it light, but keep it. Until next week.